It's 1947, and Cryptosporidium 136 explores Earth to collect furon DNA found in the brainstems of humans that his species needs to survive. 12 years later, Cryptosporidium 137 is sent down to find his previous clone, collect the furon DNA, and bring down Majestic, who attempts to take over America. Yes, guys, that was my attempt at sort of Americanizing advertising style synopsis. Well, that's the story. Yes, today, guys, this is a review on the more recent version of Destroy All Humans. That has recently been released on Xbox Gamepass. So yeah, this version is published by THQ Nordic and developed by Black Forest Games, and it's based on the original in 2005. Now, I didn't even know what this game was until this remake. But the original back in 2005 apparently had a few awards, or nominated for a few awards. The Game Audio Network Guild Awards. It was a nominee for Music of the Year, nominee for Best Original Instrumental, and the Game Critic Awards. It was Best of E3. It was a nominee for Best Original Game of E3. So yeah, a very popular game. But anyway, do the humans survive? Let's find out, and don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons, and I hope you enjoy this review. So, let's begin, guys, with the visuals. I would say it's slightly cartoony, very caricature type sort of look to the characters. It's got like a bright. The colours are very sort of bright, but not too bright, if that makes sense. But it gives it that sort of 1950s vibe, which is the era it's set on. So it's sort of bright colours, but they're sort of dimmed down a little bit. They're not sort of popping off the screen, but it's bright enough to give it that sort of 1950s vibe. The graphics are actually pretty good, I would say, for this game. It's not spectacular, but they're good enough for the game it is. You do get some scenic popping when you first load the levels up, and the textures, you get very sort of low texture levels, sort of only for a couple of seconds when you first load the levels. So you get texture popping and scenic popping and low texture levels within the first couple of seconds of when the level loads. So yeah, but apart from that, I would say the visuals are pretty good for the type of game it is. In terms of the sound, it's definitely got, again, that 50s horror movie style, space style music background score. It definitely suits the style and the era of the game. But apart from that, I haven't actually, in terms of all the sound effects, I've got no complaints whatsoever. Again, I always say I'm not a massive sound expert, so I never really pick anything up until there's something completely wrong. In terms of mechanics, you could definitely tell the game is completely based around the whole Roswell thing in and around America, that sort of 50s era. You only get one mode, which is obviously the main story mode. Within that, though, you do get challenge levels, which is like you've got certain challenges within the level, and it's almost like an open world. Do what you want, but you've got to complete these certain challenges. So within the main story, you've got the mission selection. You can obviously replay the missions. You've got Pox's lab, which is your upgrade area, and you've got the archives for the collectibles. Within Pox's lab, you can upgrade your character. So you can upgrade Cryptosporidium 137, which is your character's name. which you do that by gaining DNA from the humans within the levels by extracting their brain, and you can spend that on upgrading your character and your flying saucer, which is pretty good. You can upgrade things like your laser beam, how long it lasts, the battery and stuff like that, how well your shields perform and things like that. That's the same with your character as well. You can upgrade your laser gun, and different weapons you will get upgraded throughout the game. You also get the archive section for collectibles. The collectibles are just these little robot things that you get around each level, which will give you like an artwork, an art book. So it'd be all the artwork that was when the game was being developed from the developers. You also get a variation of sort of gadgets and weapons. I mean, yeah, you've got quite a few. You've got the gun, you've got the electrocution, you've got the fireball. You can levitate a character or any object, to be honest. Levitate any character, animal, and throw them. You can throw them at your enemies. You can pick up explosives and throw that at an enemy and it will blow up. And you also get an anal probe. The anal probe, and which obviously you can imagine what that does. It's quite funny to see, especially when you use it and the NPC, the enemy, is sort of running about, which is quite funny. And obviously you've got many more. So yeah, you also get like a sort of multiple choice question. So when you're a character, you get certain cutscenes where certain crowds will be asking you questions and you have to respond to a certain answer to gain a crowd's attention or lose it. Which, you know, you get that throughout the game, which is quite good. Just gives it a little bit extra to each level. You can also fly the flying saucer. You can shoot the buildings and they will explode. And I'll be honest, the actual destruction and the explosions are actually pretty good. Do you remember the old Soviet strike and nuclear strike on the PlayStation 1? That's what it reminds me of when you're flying the flying saucer. It's just a much more upgraded version. Speaking of that, they need to bring back Soviet strike and nuclear strike and upgrade them for today's consoles. That would be a quality game. Anyway, you can also imitate NPCs as disguises to enter certain restricted areas. So, for example, you can disguise yourself as a soldier to try and enter an army base, or you can disguise yourself as a Majestic agent, which is, you know, the FBI. But they do have more powers than other people. They have sensors that can sense whether or not you are trying to grab their disguise from them, and if they sense you, it won't work. So there are certain ways you can get around that, but I won't go into everything. But yeah, so you can imitate any character on that level apart from animals. Obviously they have to be human. You also get a jetpack which has limited fuel. Obviously that builds up over time, so you can fly for longer, but you have a jetpack. And generally I found the best way to get out of being chased is to fly up onto a building that's a bit further away, and they generally struggle then to try and find you, which then you can go and imitate quickly one of the cats. See, if you're spotted imitating a character, it won't work. You have to imitate them from hidden places. But yeah, so that's most of the mechanics. Going on to gameplay, it's easy to control the alien and the flying saucer. A bit when you are flying the flying saucer, it does get a bit annoying, because especially when you're being shot by all different angles, you use this ability called a shield boost, which is as if missiles are coming towards your flying saucer, you press the button and it blows them up away from your ship. The NPCs, so I mean, like I said, the aliens and the flying saucer are easy enough to control. There's nothing spectacular about it. Again, but the only problem I find is when you're trying to bring up the menu to change a weapon, you bring up this menu, which I haven't used yet, which is a bit fiddly. I'll just use it all on the HUD itself. NPCs are average. They do, to be honest, what they're expected to do. They have their little lives they're walking around doing and performing their various tasks. There's nothing spectacular. There's nothing innovative about it. You know, it's that type of game. It's very basic. There is a couple of glitches I've seen within the game where the car floats above the road. The funny thing is, it's a glitch, but it sort of suits it because it's space. It's supposed to be like it's almost like it's levitating. It's almost like they've done it on purpose. Even though you can see it's a glitch, but you think, oh, it kind of suits the game. It's weird. And it's the same with, I've seen a couple of NPCs floating, like walking down invisible stairs. But again, it kind of is. You can see it's a glitch, but it looks like it suits the game, which is really, really odd. But yeah, apart from that, I would say this game is brilliant. Like I say, it's quite a funny game. The humour in it is definitely 1950s. You can see the parody and the sort of trying to take the mick out of that era with it, and especially around the Roswell and how they try to hide it and all that sort of stuff. It's definitely a fun game. Again, like I said, my boy is playing this game. He's not playing the missions. He just absolutely loves running around, zapping all the humans with fireballs and electric and throwing them. He definitely likes the throwing part of it, which is quite fun. It's like a ragdoll sort of physics engine it's got. So yeah, that is my review for Destroy All Humans. I would suggest going to download it off Xbox Gamepass. Definitely worth a playthrough. I'm having lots of fun, and I'm sure you will too. That's it for now. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons, and I will see you soon.